Welcome to the annual Hillsville, Virginia Memorial Day Flea Market. This event has been going on for a little over 20 years now, with the larger September Labor Day event having started about 56 years ago. Started by the local VFW, the flea market grew to encompass the entire lot and land across the street, as well as the homes and businesses along the main strip in between. While the Memorial Day event is smaller, there's still a lot to see and treasures to find if you are willing to put in the legwork. There are some things to keep in mind for an event like this in the South. In May and September, it is typically hot and humid. Be prepared for rain and wet, sticky mud that stains shoes and clothing. Bring some trail boots, rain gear, and dress accordingly. The town lives up to its name with a lot of inclines to traverse, though generally the land is flat where the bulk of vendors are set up. Long, winding country roads with poor cell reception. Even in town, the cell service is spotty. A good GPS is recommended, especially if you plan to check out the yard sales outside of town. Parking for the event is mostly on homeowners' property, ranging from $5 to $10 for the day. Get there early for good parking and expect muddy conditions. Porta Potties, dirty bathrooms, and lines. The main lot has a couple bathroom buildings with sinks, but they are not in the best condition. Porta Potties are placed around the market on both sides of the street. It's a good idea to bring sanitizer and a hand towel. Greasy, deep-fried food and sweets. It's a good idea to pack your own food and picnic at your car to save money and time, especially if you have dietary requirements. Make sure to have cash on hand for purchases. Most of these vendors don't have the ability to take credit or debit cards, and with the poor cell reception, card transactions via phone for the few who do are just a huge hassle. Firearms being bought, sold, traded, and carried around. Generally, these weapons are not loaded if being purchased or sold, but some visitors may open carry a loaded sidearm. Vendor booths and tables will vary. Some will have a mix of household items, memorabilia, antiques, toys, glassware, electronics, and furniture, while others specialize mainly in one type of thing. If you plan to buy large items, such as furniture, make sure to bring your truck, van, or trailer with you. As a kid, I remember this market having a lot of World War II era toys, trains, and dolls, things other adults would have remembered from their childhood. In more recent times, toys and memorabilia from the 70s and 80s, moving into the 90s, has become very common on the tables. There are a lot of homemade arts and crafts for sale, handmade soaps, pillows and linens, paintings, and jewelry, to name some of the items you may see. By far, antiques make up the bulk of the market. This vendor had a multi-cade cabinet for sale. I've seen arcade cabinets show up year to year, though much less common now. I think old light-up wall clocks have a certain charm to them. This vendor had some in really good to great condition, with prices to match. They also had jukeboxes in working order for sale. The seller specializes in these kinds of items, thus the price tags. Of course, there are video games, consoles, and accessories. The best deals are normally found on tables that do not specialize in them. However, some of the resellers can be reasonable if you are polite. Getting to the market on the first day will give you a better chance at finding more uncommon games, but prices will be higher. Historically, the last day of the market is when the prices are really slashed and sellers are very willing to consider offers so they don't have to carry things home. Comic books are a common sight as well. Most seem to be modern era, though there are some classics mixed in. If you feel like exploring beyond the flea market in town, there are many yard sales along Highway 100. It's a scenic country drive with miles in between many of the sales. Some of the sellers do this every year and have large setups, but the best finds tend to be at sales that happen less often. Generally, yard sales out in the country will mostly consist of housewares, porcelain and glass knickknacks, and tons of clothing. However, games and electronics do show up. You never know where a gem is hiding, so make sure to check the tables and bins. In my experience, old electronics found out in the country have been stored in damp basements and sheds where heat and moisture can really take a toll. Make sure to inspect any potential purchase for damage, especially open battery hatches to check for corrosive leaks. If you are polite, the seller may be willing to plug in an item so you can at least test it. Don't be afraid to make offers on untested, questionable items. This Sony Mavica was pretty dirty, had no charger or memory card, and the rear screen was cracked. It might be worth a few dollars for parts, but I've seen them with accessories in better condition. Oceans of DVDs and CDs are still a common sight, most of which are from the Walmart bargain bins, but sometimes you can find a good title or two. Aside from yard sales, there are these pop-up mini markets along the highway. They are worth checking out. This York's brand TV and stereo combo was hidden down in a box. I wonder how this would look paired with an older game console or computer. It is why you have to stop and pick through the setups. I love seeing old Radio Shack branded items, even the battery on the front being tested as Radio Shack branded. I wasn't sure if this Grundig item was a set of speakers or a microphone. It certainly was odd though. You will see a lot of common game titles, heavy on the sports and racing for sure. Hand tools and gas-powered lawn equipment is also fairly common. Seems everyone has an inkjet combo printer for sale, 2 of them in this case. Bunch of tangled wires, and a semi-modern laptop in rough shape to round out the lot. The owner was eager to offer the whole pile for $20. This seller had a stack of games with a few okay titles mixed in. However, everything was individually priced, which is commonly a red flag to expect near eBay prices. This copy of Tales of Xillia was going for around $12 on eBay at the time, so the $10 price wasn't terrible if it was something you wanted, and it seems to have crept up in value a little. They also had a few game and anime related items. The Dark Cloud manual caught my eye, but the seller wanted a high price, so I passed. Boxes of wires usually catch my eye because other small electronics may be hiding among them, and it's a good way to find cheap extra cables and or uncommon ones for old devices. Thanks for watching. I hope this gives you a better idea of what the Hillsville event was like and what you can expect and look for should you decide to check it out yourself.